Unit 10. Online Business. Track 22.
What sort of companies have been the main winners in terms of doing business online?
Well, the first and most obvious group are companies that were set up specifically to do business online, the giant booksellers like Amazon, and also some companies who couldn't have existed in the old days, like eBay, the auction site. I think second are small companies that have been able to sell outside their traditional markets. That's now much easier for them. And the third point is that companies are able to buy things around the world online much more cheaply than they could in the past. Both large companies and also your local plumber might be able to buy something in Hong Kong when he never could have before.
Unit 10. Online Business. Track 23.
Your work involves helping organisations to build truly global websites. What are the key features of such websites?
The first feature of the global website is its complexity. It has to serve a huge number of audiences, both geographically dispersed and also different types of people. They could be customers, shareholders, journalists, governments, all sorts. So the signposting, the navigation, and the usability of those websites are all extremely important. I think the second point is to do with branding. You can no longer come across with a look and feel in Bolivia that's different from one in Bulgaria, for example. So everything has to be much, much more homogeneous. It pulls the whole company together in a way that really wasn't necessary in the past.
Unit 10. Online Business. Track 24.
How are companies benefiting from the use of social media?
I think the first area is in marketing, that by very, very subtle use of social networking sites like Facebook and also what they call micro-blogging sites like Twitter, they can get their messages across in a rather different way from the way that they do on the web itself. It's more engaging. They can have more two-way conversations with their customers. And so I think that that's an important point. The second one is that actually they can talk to other groups. For example, people looking for jobs. Young people typically will spend a lot of time on Facebook, so why not go to Facebook to talk to them?
What problems can social media cause for companies?
There's a big reputation risk from social media. If a story gets out which may be false, it can spread very, very fast indeed on Twitter, on blogs, even on YouTube. And it's very, very difficult for companies to deal with that. They have to move much faster than they've been traditionally used to. They can't just ring up journalists. They have to get out there and try and counter the reputation management issue very, very early on.
Can you give us an example?
There's a rare example of a company dealing successfully with a reputation management crisis when Ford has a social media manager. His job is to look after Twitter and things like that. And he discovered that a story was going around that Ford had tried to close down a very small dealership's website. And it appeared that this was Ford behaving quite badly. He sent out messages on Twitter to his followers saying, I'm trying to find out about this, I'm trying to find out about this. Eventually he discovered that there was a Ford side to the story. He put that out, and what could have been quite a nasty fire was put out at the very beginning, within a few hours.
Unit 10. Online Business. Track 25.
And where is online business heading? What developments do you see over the next few years?
Well, I think the developments that are already starting, where companies are having to be much more responsive to their customers, because customers no longer necessarily listen to what a company says to them. They'll go and ask other customers of their experience. It's something that's happening with social media, and that's going to develop enormously. From a more, if you like, exciting point of view, I think we're going to get 3D. So we'll get quite a lot more, going into a virtual shop. I think that's going to become quite big. And also we're going to get the convergence of television and computers. So in a few years' time, you really won't notice whether you're using a television or computer. They will be the same thing.
Unit 10. Online Business. Track 26.
I think that gives us time for a couple of questions before the break. Oh, yes.
I was just wondering what you thought were the main differences between government websites and those in the private business sector.
Right, well, it's really what I was talking about at the start of my presentation. One of the main differences used to be that business websites were aimed at selling online, whereas government sites were simply offering information and access to services. But a new online business might start off by offering its products or services for free, while some government sites might be taking payment for certain services. I don't really want to go into too much detail at this stage, as Peter Adams will be dealing with commercial sites and credit card security in the next session.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
I'd like to know how a company can improve its online sales through web page design.
I'm really sorry. Could you just repeat that question, because I don't think everyone heard?
Oh, sure, sorry. I'd like to know how a company can actually improve its online sales through web page design. I mean, what is it exactly that makes it more effective?
Well, as I've already said, Peter will be dealing with those kinds of issues later. But what I would say is think of eBay and Amazon. You know, what makes those sites so effective? Making the online experience quick, easy and user-friendly is the key. Otherwise, users will just click off the site. And building flexibility, I mean, allow your user to change her mind and order 2 items instead of 3 without going all the way back to the beginning. When you think of the most successful sites, they have very user-focused design, provide information without overloading the user, and are just simple to use. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thanks.
Good.
I'd be interested to know more about copywriting. I mean to say, could you tell us what kind of language you think works well on websites?
That's a really interesting question. The language, tone and look of a business site is going to be quite different. Although government sites should also be open, friendly and clearly written. And we've seen the increasing use of social media such as wikis and blogs for both company and government sites. But on the whole, commercial sites use language that's what I call punchy or young and trendy. And copy, or the language used on websites, is primarily designed to encourage users to spend money.
Yes, but I was wondering whether there was any kind of language that you would avoid using.
So, your question is, what kind of language should we avoid? Well, apart from the obvious, you know, offensive language. The sort of language depends on the industry and the purpose of the website. Is it aimed at customers, members of staff, or shareholders? What I usually say is don't use very technical terminology. Jargon, abbreviations and acronyms should all be avoided. You'll find some guidelines on copywriting in the handout. Is that all?
I think so.
Okay, great. Well, let's break for 15 minutes then. Thank you.
Unit 10. Online Business. Track 27.
I'm Leah Chu, and our special guest today is award-winning tailor Zeina Mirza. Zeina, you're one of the top 5 tailors in Paris, if not Europe. What do you think you owe your success to?
Well, we always try to personalize our suits. I don't offer a standard 2-button suit. People want special touches. And once a client has worn a tailored suit, they can't bear to buy clothes off the peg.
Sure, but the competition in the industry is extremely tough. I mean, with so many online retailers offering top brands at cut prices, do you think your success is going to last?
Of course, trends come and go. But at Mirza, we're using new media tools to find key trends, to find out what our clients really want.
Mm-hmm. And I hear you've expanded the business to include tailored shirts. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, customers can choose styles, submit their measurements, and mix and match fabrics online. And after the first order, we offer a 10% discount on subsequent orders.
Cool. You mentioned new media. How are you using digital media in your business? Customers are so fickle nowadays. They're quick to complain and change brands.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I'm not sure I follow you.
What I'm asking is, how are you adapting your online business? I suppose you must have a social media team, someone trawling the internet?
Oh, yes. That's an interesting point.
Uh-huh.
Well, up to now, I can safely say we've had hardly any complaints. But having a social media manager is something I'm considering.
Right. And what would you say to critics who think your suits are not all they claim to be?
Excuse me?
Your garments are advertised as made in Paris, but bloggers are saying they're made in Frankfurt, China, or who knows where.
Really? I didn't realize. I mean, that's a false accusation. Our suits are mostly made in Paris, but it could be Frankfurt, depending on the customer's location.
Mostly? So, are you saying they're made in Paris or not?
Well, it depends.
So, made in Paris is what? Just a marketing slogan?
No, I didn't say that.
And what about your business finance? Is it true that the company is experiencing some financial difficulty?
Those are just rumors.
Right.
Mirza Tailoring Fashions is going from strength to strength.
And finally, I'm sure all our viewers have been following the Don't Shop Sweatshop campaign. What's your position on that, Zaina?
Well, at Mirza, we are opposed to sweatshop labour, obviously.
Yes, but a little birdie tells me you haven't yet signed the petition.
No, not yet. But it's something I'm seriously thinking about.
You heard it here first on our show. Zaina Mirza is going to sign the petition. And next, we have l'enfant terrible of the fashion world, Vincent Seltz. Let's take a look at Vincent's digitally inspired Futura collection. It's to die for.